Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to a cool little special show here. This has been requested by a bunch of people, and this was actually fun to put together. Okay, so we're going to talk about my favorite 70s pop or AM radio hits. Okay, so originally I was going to do a top 20. Then I said, let me do a top 25, because of course it was hard to figure out what to keep in and what to leave off, right? And then I made it up to 30, and then I said, you know what? Screw it. Since here in the States, okay, it's always all about the top 40, right? That's what you call the hits chart. I said, you know what? This is going to be Pete's top 40 hits, Pete's top 40 AM hits of the 70s. All right. I racked my brain. I went through my old Time Life amgold CD collections, and I got a ton of them because my wife and I are big into that kind of stuff. Every so often we pull those out and just do like these 70s marathons. And, you know, it's fun because I grew up in the 70s, right? So I grew up in a house where my parents were always listening to AM radio. So I heard all those great hits of the day. And, you know, so many of these songs are so important to me, even though the majority of what I listen to is like hard rock, metal, prog, and all that kind of stuff. So if you're one of those guys that only comes to that channel to hear me talk about metal, you could care less about 70s prog, goodbye. All right, don't bother watching. All right, if you're only interested in progressive rock, you don't listen to radio music or any of that kind of stuff, goodbye, don't bother listening, right? But if you have a soft spot for great pop rock or pop of the 70s, all right, like so many of us do, have fun with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a list of 40. They're not really necessarily in any order. The kind of the top of the list is, the bottom not really. It was too hard to try and rank these, right, because so many of them mean so much to me. And like I said, there's a ton more that I like. So before you guys start saying, but what about this song, people? What about this song? I can't believe you didn't list this song. Whatever. If you want to list your favorite 10, 5, 20, 40, 50 songs, whatever, go ahead. But don't ask me about why didn't I mention a certain song, right? These are some of the ones that are more memorable to me. There's a ton of other songs I like. I don't want to do a 2-hour show, right? So just please listen to all the ones that I pick and that I love. Then list yours. Have fun with this, okay? Because this was actually fun to put together, trying to rack my brain of all those like special songs that I remember growing up and stuff that I still like today. So here we go. And I'm just going to basically, like I said, I'm going to start at number 40. It's just a list. Don't get too hung up on the ranking. There's no real ranking here. It's just a list, okay? So number 40 in my top 40 of the 70s, I had to throw a Queen song in here, right? You got to. Oh, and also, I only did one song per artist because all of a sudden I had a couple, 2 or 3 Bee Gees songs and a couple of Elton John songs. I'm like, you know what? I can't do that. So I decided to limit it to just one song per artist, no matter how much I love that artist or that band's songs of the 70s and hits of the 70s, right? So I tried very hard to do that. Or to not to do that, I should say. So coming in at number 40 from Queen, You're My Best Friend. To me, it's one of their best pop songs ever. It's a true pop song. A lot of the other, I tried very hard not to pick like just straight up rock songs, okay? Although some of these are definitely rock songs, but more pop rock songs that were played on AM radio, right? So it's kind of, I try to draw a fine line, sort of. So I went for You're My Best Friend because that is a amazing pop song by the band. Probably their first pop hit, and it's a true pop song. And it's just, the melodies are great. The lyrics are great. It's just, a lot of these are just feel-good songs, right? So that's number 40. Number 39, I had to pick a Barry Manilow song because I grew up in a household where my mother played Barry Manilow records all the time. And quite frankly, even though during that time period, you know, I was listening to Kiss and, you know, rock stuff, I never minded the Barry stuff. I really never did. And even to this day, like I have a Barry Manilow Greatest Hits CD. I pull that out from time to time. You know what? Those are some great songs, right? Mandy by Barry Manilow. I almost picked I Write the Songs, but Mandy, I don't know. That song just gets me. Dig it. Dig it, dig it, dig it. All right, next up. How about Rupert Holmes at number 38? Escape, the Pina Colada song. I like Pina Colada. I mean, come on. Who doesn't like that song, right? We've heard it 1,000 times. It's still a great song. Coming in at number 37, Devil Woman by Cliff Richard. She's just a devil woman with evil all around. Always dug that song when I was a kid. Still like it. Number 36, I Fooled Around and Fell in Love, Elvin Bishop. All right, kind of a different song for him. He's more of a blues guy. Does this great pop song. It's a great tune, right? Number 35, I'm in You by Peter Frampton. I prefer that song to some of his other pop hits of that era. I always dug that song, still do. Number 34, a lot of choices for the Doobie Brothers, but I decided to go with Listen to the Music. It's either that or Black Water. All right, some of the other songs are a little too much rock. I decided to go for something a little mellower, a little more poppy, breezy. Listen to the Music is a classic. All right, number 33, How Much I Feel from Ambrosia. I love the Ambrosia pop prog stuff, their first two albums, and I like the Ambrosia pop stuff from the next couple albums. How Much I Feel is just a great kind of heart-tugging emotional ballad. Dig it a lot. Great vocals on that song. Really good. What else? Number 32, got to have some Todd Rundgren on this list, right? How about Can We Still Be Friends? Almost picked I Can See the Light. I Saw the Light, sorry. But I think the pop song of his that I really, really like from that the mid-70s period is Can We Still Be Friends? Just what a great melody on that song. It's just that hooks to die for. It's vocals and piano, man. It's just a simple arrangement. It's just so good. Great song. Let's see. Number 31. And again, don't go by rankings because if these were going to be in some kind of order, this would be much higher. For me, one of the greatest cover songs of all time. All right, "Blinded by the Light" by Manfred Mann's Earth Band. Genius. I gotta say, the Springsteen original, it's okay. The remake here by Manfred Mann, a great 70s song, just amazing. Just so good. Never get tired of it. Number 30. This originally was my last, when I had the list at 30. This was the last one. Then I said, I got to fit more in here. Vicki Lawrence, "The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia." I was big into that when I was a kid. I still like hearing it. Right? Really good song. Number 29. "Moving Out," Anthony's song from Billy Joel. I had so many Billy Joel songs to choose from. I was like, God, what is my favorite? I decided to go with that one. A lot of his he's got a lot of songs that weren't necessarily AM hits, but they are Billy Joel hits, if that makes any sense. Like, they're totally memorable. Every Billy Joel fan knows them, but they weren't actually radio songs. Okay, so I've tried to pick some of the ones that were really big on the radio that I liked, and that's probably one of my favorites. Okay, again, that's a lot of New York stuff going on there when it comes to Billy Joel. All right, what else? Number 28. I almost forgot to include this song, and I absolutely love it. "Miracles" by Jefferson Starship. That is a tremendous song. That is probably a top 10 for me. That should be like I said, if we were doing this in somewhat of an order, that would be way, way up there. I'm a huge fan of Miracles. Marty Ballin, great vocals on that. Just killer. Let's see. Number 27, "Rich Girl" by Hall & Oates. Almost went with "She's Gone," but I think I like "Rich Girl" a little bit more. Quirky, fun, really memorable song. It's one of those songs when my wife and I first started dating. We were listening to a lot of Hall & Oates together. That's one of the songs that we always played. Number 26, I had to fit Supertramp on here. How about "The Logical Song"? Great pop tune. That Breakfast in America album is, somewhat of a prog band doing a spectacular pop album, right? It's great. Let's see. Number 25. Gonna go with, what's the name of it? Cornelius Brothers and Sister Rose. "Too Late to Turn Back Now." I believe I'm falling in love. Another song that takes me back to my childhood, hearing that on the AM radio in the kitchen of my parents' house, or in the car, in Dad's car, driving into town to go to the grocery store, pick up newspapers and buy comic books, that sort of thing. Just, and I still listen to it today. Brings back memories to when I was really little. Jackie Blue, "Ozark Mountain Daredevils," number 24. Ooh, Jackie Blue. Great song. Kind of a one-hit wonder band, right? But I actually have a greatest hits of theirs, and their other stuff is pretty good, I mean, that's obviously the best song. 23, "Rock Me Gently" by Andy Kim. Another kind of one-hit wonder artist. Great song, good anthem, right? Dig that a lot. Number 22, how about a little Blondie, right? "Heart of Glass," right? She squeaks in right before the end of the decade there. I was big into that Heart of Glass when it came out. I didn't buy the LP, but I bought every single that they released from that album. I went and bought the 45, right? And I played Heart of Glass to death. 21, I also had to squeeze some ELO onto this list, so I have a little Turn to Stone. Had a couple choices. That's easily my favorite because it's from my favorite ELO album, Out of the Blue, and I always really dug Turn to Stone. Great, majestic, kind of soaring pop rock, right? Great stuff. Number 20, again, probably pushing the barrier of what actually is a pop song, but it is power pop at its finest. It squeaks in right before the decade finishes in 1979. I'm talking about My Sharona by The Knack. I can't tell you how much I was into that song and that album. I bought that, totally into it. And then they released the follow-up, and it was like the exact same thing, except the songs weren't as good. And then the band disappeared off the face of the earth from there. It's a shame, because that first album was great. Let's see, 19. How about Hooked on a Feeling from Blue Suede? Love that song. Made popular, of course, by being in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, right? But that was a great song before then. It's still a great song, right? Seeing that movie probably introduced that song to a lot of people, but it's a great song, okay? Number 18, I got to get some Chicago on this list. Have a lot of choices for their more pop stuff from that decade. My favorite, might not be one of their biggest hits, but it was a minor hit for them, is Old Days. Okay. Love Old Days. Could have went with a bunch of songs. I had a couple that I was thinking about, but Old Days for me is really good. It's got that kind of like real beefy guitar riff at the beginning, and then it's just this glorious pop song, right? Dig it a lot. Memorable. Love it. Love the lyrics. Just love everything about it. Number 17, how about a little Ventura Highway in the sunshine, a little America. A lot of good America tunes. Horse with No Name, thought about it. Tin Man, thought about it. But when it came down to it, Ventura Highway is by far my favorite America song. Great song. Great folk band, folk rock band, pop rock band, whatever you want to call them. Like I mentioned, I could have picked a lot of Bee Gees songs. I got a soft spot for the Bee Gees. What can I tell you? I decided to go with Tragedy at number 16 over If I Can't Have You. I had both of them on the list, and I said, you know what, I can't be doing doubles of artists. I did not want to. And I ultimately chose Tragedy because Tragedy is kind of like a hard driving disco tune, man. I don't know. And I love, those high pitched vocals on that. It's just great stuff. It's fun. I dig, that kind of like Saturday Night Fever era stuff from the Bee Gees. Hey, stuff was played all over my house, and what can you say? Never minded the Bee Gees. Never did. Let's see, number 15. How about She's a Lady from Tom Jones? She's a lady. Great song. Great song. Tom Jones, the man. What else? All right. Of course, got to have the Dan on here, right? Steely Dan has to make this list. And I had a number that I would have chosen or could have chosen, but I got to go with my favorite Steely Dan song of all time. I was hugely into it when I was a kid. I'm still hugely into this song now. Coming in at number 14, Ricky Don't Lose That Number. It's haunting. It's dramatic. The hook's to die for. The instrumentation is great. The vocals are great, man. It's just there's just so many great Steely Dan songs, which is such a great band. One of those bands that I always liked, and the older I get, the more I love them. It is what it is. Let's see. Number 13, Come and Get Your Love, Come and Get Your Love from Redbone, right? Those guys are pretty good. Bunch of Mexicans and Indians, man. They made some good music, all right? Go check out their greatest hits CD. It's got a lot of other good songs. That's their biggest hit. But, man, some of the rest are very, very good. Dig it. Dig that. Great song. Great song. Let's see. Number 12, Baby Come Back from Player. And, that is not their best song. That is a band. Player is a great band who have a lot of really, really great songs. And they could rock. They could do a little bit. They were kind of like Ambrosia. They could do that little bit of pop and mix it. A little bit of prog and hard rock and pop, blend it all together. That was their one major hit, and it's a great song. But go investigate those first three Player albums. They're really, really good. All right, but that's just a fantastic song, right? How do you not love Baby Come Back, right? Let's see, number 11. I had to throw some Fleetwood Mac on here. I went with Go Your Own Way. I just completely dig that song. Love it. Always have, always will. Could have thrown tons of Fleetwood Mac on here, right? But that's my favorite, so I went with that. All right, my 10. Here we go, number 10. How about Superstar by the Carpenters? Big fan. I like the Carpenters a lot. I always have, and I absolutely adore that song. Baby, 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 oh baby. I mean, come on. It's just, and she just pours everything into that lyric and that vocal. It's just such a heavy, emotionally heavy song. So great. So great. In fact, I get on, as soon as I get done with the film, I'm going to listen to it again because, man, it's just so good. Number 9, Couldn't Get It Right by the Climax Blues Band. Again, kind of an outlier for them because they were a really good blues rock band. And then all of a sudden they started doing these cool pop hits. And that is a great song. The groove in that song, just amazing. Couldn't Get It Right. Killer. Next one, number 8. So Into You by the Atlanta Rhythm Section. Again, a real poppy southern rock band. They had pop hits that were just amazing. That is by far my favorite. So Into You. Such a great... That's kind of like their Steely Dan tune, kind of, right? It's just great. All right, got to have Elton John on here, right? So many great Elton John songs. I went with Tiny Dancer, one of my favorites. Just a legendary song. One of the greatest pop songs of all time, in my opinion. One of the greatest hooks of all time. Coming in at number 7. Coming in at number 6, I'm Not in Love by 10cc. Another genius song. I love the kind of weird-ass instrumentation, right? All the sound effects and vocal effects that they use, but it's just an unforgettable song, right? All right, coming in at number 5, another song that I have deeply loved ever since I was a kid, and I still listen to it and absolutely adore it. You're So Vain by Carly Simon. You walk into the party. Oh, just such a great song. And you know, one of the cool things about that song, if you're a fan, is like all throughout the 70s and the 80s, trying to figure out just who she was singing about, right? Because, you know, Carly had all these, like, you know, high profile romances with all these people. So is it Warren Beatty? Is it Mick Jagger? You know, is it James Taylor? You know, who's it about, right? She never really said, but a lot of people thought it was Jagger. But then when you see, you didn't really know it at the time. But now when you listen, I think he was uncredited at the time, but now it's been well known that Mick sang on the chorus to that song. And you listen to it now, you're like, oh yeah, it's totally Mick Jagger there. So a really cool song, really cool kind of backstory about who the lyrics are about, if they're about anybody. But it's just, man, it's such a great song. I still love listening to You're So Vain. Number 4. Dun, 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 dun. Go All the Way by the Raspberries. Probably one of the greatest power pop songs of all time. So amazing, so addicting, so catchy. Great vocal harmonies, just amazing. Number 3, a song that I liked back in the day a lot, but it's not till like the last 5 or so years that I've just realized how much I truly love this song. And if you were to, 10 years ago, if I would have done this same exercise, this song probably would not have even been on the list. But man, over the last few years, can't get enough of it. Every Time I Think of You by the Babies. Incredible. Another, again, it's, the top of my list is pretty close to a ranking here. And the fact that that's coming in number 3 says a lot. All right. It's just, man, John Waite's vocals on it, the hooks, the female vocals, that just works so great. Okay. Number 2, got to go with Silly Love Songs by Paul McCartney and Wings. It's been a favorite pop song of mine since the day I heard it. And if you've been following this channel, you know that I was a enormous Wings fan in the 70s when I was a kid. Still am. And man, that's what a pop song should be, right? And that bass line, killer. The vocal harmonies, killer. The hooks, killer. The only reason that's not number 1 is because my number one is probably as perfect a pop song as you're ever going to get. You've heard the backstory before if you've been following this channel. All right. I have great memories of growing up as a kid in the early mid-70s, the weekends. My dad worked in New York. We lived upstate New York. My dad worked in New York City during the week, so we didn't see a lot of him during the week, right? But on the weekends, man, Saturday morning, Sunday morning, get up in the morning, get dressed, hop in the car with Dad. Dad's got the AM radio cranking on the Plymouth Fury, driving to town so he can buy the newspapers, give us a little bit of allowance money so my brother and I can buy comic books. And there's a song that I remember at a certain period of time was played all over the radio nonstop for months, it seemed, and I fell in love with it. And I always remember those drives in the car to go pick up the newspapers and comic books with Dad and my little brother, and this song being on the radio, and that's Brandy, You're a Fine Girl by Looking Glass. And another song made even more famous in recent years thanks to Guardians of the Galaxy. Right? Because how many people never heard Brandy because they weren't alive or old enough back in the day when I remember it. Now, thanks to that film, okay, which has on their soundtracks during the film, a lot of old 70s classics played. All right. So that's my number one. All right. Brandy, You're a Fine Girl by Looking Glass, a terrific, terrific song. And there you have it, man. Should I recap the list? I can do that. All right, coming in number one, Brandy by Looking Glass. Number two, Silly Love Songs by Paul McCartney and Wings. Number three, Every Time I Think of You by the Babies. Number four, Go All the Way by Raspberries. Number five, You're So Vain by Carly Simon. Number six, I'm Not in Love by 10cc. Number seven, Tiny Dancer by Elton John. Number eight, So Into You by Atlanta Rhythm Section. Number 9, Couldn't Get It Right from the Climax Blues Band. Hold on. There we go. Number 10, Superstar by the Carpenters. Number 11, Fleetwood Mac, Go Your Own Way. Number 12, Baby Come Back by Player. Number 13, Come and Get Your Love by Redbone. Number 14, Ricky Don't Lose That Number, Steely Dan. Number 15, She's a Lady, Tom Jones. Number 16, Tragedy by the Bee Gees. Number 17, Ventura Highway by America. Number 18, Old Days by Chicago. Number 19, Hooked on a Feeling, Blue Suede. Number 20, My Sharona, The Knack. Number 21, Turn to Stone by ELO. 22, Heart of Glass by Blondie. 23, Rock Me Gently by Andy Kim. Number 24, Jackie Blue by Ozark Mountain Daredevils. Number 25, Too Late to Turn Back Now by Cornelius Brothers and Sister who? Sister Rose. Number 26, The Logical Song by Supertramp. Number 27, Rich Girl by Hall & Oates. Number 28, Miracles, Jefferson Starship. 29, Moving Out, Anthony's Song by Billy Joel. Number 30, The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia, Vicki Lawrence. Number 31, Blinded by the Light, Manfred Mann's Earth Band. 32, Can We Still Be Friends, Todd Rundgren. 33, How Much I Feel by Ambrosia. 34, Listen to the Music by the Doobie Brothers. 35, I'm In You, Peter Frampton. 36, Fooled Around and Fell in Love, Elvin Bishop. 37, Devil Woman by Cliff Richard. 38, Escape, the Pina Colada Song by Rupert Holmes. 39, Mandy by Barry Manilow. And number 40, You're My Best Friend by Queen. Remember, most of these are not in any kind of ranking. This is just like an amassing of a lot of my favorite pop songs from AM radio days in the 70s. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, this is all about discussing and remembering and all that kind of stuff. So in the comments below, list some of your favorite 70s AM gold, right? AM radio classics. If you're not here in the U.S., you probably had some kind of different radio setup or however it was, radio station. I'm not sure how they did it over in the U.K. or what have you. But, what were some of your favorite pop songs of the 70s? Remember, instead of saying, Pete, I can't believe you forgot this song. Pete, do you like this song? Whatever, just list yours. These are mine, okay? So, hope you enjoyed this, right? Visit us on the web at www.seeattranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're on YouTube all the damn time. Thanks for coming by and checking out something a little bit different, talking some 70s pop here, all right? I'm going to go listen to some 70s pop. It's Friday. Happy hour soon, although I'm on allergy medication, so there'll be no happy hour for me, but I can still listen to the music, right? So tune in this weekend. We got all sorts of metal stuff happening this weekend. We're going to talk some guitar greats hopefully this weekend. We're going to start real soon doing the favorite album releases year by year. All right, we're going to start in 1965. We're going to go all the way to the present. Whether I do these every day, every other day, well, I haven't figured that out yet, but basically every day I'm going to start with a year, 1965. What was my favorite album release from 1965? All right. A lot of people ask me, well, Pete, why can't you do like 3 or 5? Or Pete, do 10 or 20. I'm not going to get into that. All right. Since I'm going to be doing this very often, all right, and along with a lot of other stuff, these are not going to be epic shows. These are going to be like quick little 5-minute shows. I'm going to pick one album. Maybe I'll do 3. I don't know. I may just stick to the one, because the problem is if I start doing more than one, well, Pete, I can't believe you didn't pick this album. I can't, if I do 10 or I do 5, well, those are great, but Pete, you forgot this album. You forgot this album. So I don't even want to go there. All right. So I may probably just stick to one album, my favorite album of that release year. We're going to go 1965, 66, 7, all the way up to today, however long it takes us, right? And every year I'm going to go scour the record books to find all the releases from that year that I have known and loved and all that kind of stuff, and I'm going to pick one of them. And then I'm going to ask you guys to do the same. All right, that's how that's going to work. So, did I say this is on the web at www.seatranquility.org? Yes, I did. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. We'll see you guys again over the weekend. Enjoy this. Let's hear your favorite pop songs of the 70s, 1970, 1979. All right, list them in the comments. Let the debate begin. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.